All right, so we're here on another Couch Coach Live, 8 o'clock on the dot. What's going on, Maui?
I'm chilling, man. What's going on?
Everything's good, man. You know, solid week. How was your week, man?
Um, it was all right, man. Just work, same old, same old. Went seeing some old friends.
Yeah,
Um, and my daughter was really happy because she missed seeing them, and that's about it, bro.
yeah. It was week was same for me, man. Just doing the same thing, just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, trying to do my thing. But yeah,
Really?
man. I guess before we move on to this week's episode, man, we definitely got to give a huge shout out for the views that we got last week. I ended up being 2,658. We definitely got to give each other a round of applause. Again, let me see if it's.
You good?
And I was told, you know what? I had to celebrate the small victories, even though I was
Right.
always like, I'm always, back in the day when I first started, I was like, oh man, act like you've been there. Shoot,
Uh-huh.
I ain't been there for a long time. So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be like this. I'm going to celebrate all the victories, all the positive feedback we've been getting. So I like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, man, it was great. I got a lot of good feedback from us, as far as talking about our experience. And of course, in Montana, and luck and thank God we were able to laugh about that experience because it could have,
Mm-hmm.
it could have went anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's been a crazy week. So we did a show on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
then Wednesday, your boy Drew Brees was like, "Look, I can't tolerate nobody disrespecting the flag."
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "Oh," and then of course this series of apologies within like the
Mm-hmm.
last you had one on Thursday, then you had one on Friday, and then I think he had another one, and this was live to the executive producer of The Apprentice. I don't want to say his name out loud, but
So he apologized
so
to him too?
no, he didn't apologize to him. He clapped back because okay, so what ended up happening,
Oh, okay.
the whole thing about the flag. Then he
Mm-hmm.
apologized. He did the video. So then the
Mm-hmm.
executive producer of The Apprentice, the former owner of the New Jersey Generals of the USFL, said, "Look, you ain't gotta apologize. Like, you pretty much saying, look, you ain't gotta apologize for what you had to say." So then Drew said, he said what he had to say. Man, just your thoughts on this whole Drew Brees situation so far. Like,
I mean, I seen everybody was kind of like, me, man. Like I take my little bit of time to look at things, and I
mm-hmm,
seen how everybody was kind of all over the place about it. And I noticed if anybody, especially from the other race, if they voice their opinion of how they really feel, they're being attacked like crazy. And I think it's
mm-hmm,
more or less um when you see a lot of people changing their views on things and seem like they're starting to open up to better understand, because of like Drew Brees. See, that's the whole thing, man. Even though these people are athletes and stars, they're still human beings, man. So they still see things from a certain perspective, and you can put them in a category for certain people. But the whole thing is when when you see things and you like, because for us, Drew Brees seemed like he was one of those homeboys. Like even though he may have his own decisions or his own mindset of what he thinks, when he actually said it, I think it was hurt. And then, like a lot of people said, it was bad timing to even voice that opinion in that way. But a lot of people at home, they don't have no publicists. They don't have certain people telling them certain things that they necessarily supposed to say because they've been in a house quarantine. So a lot of the truths and frustrations of how they feel and the person who they really are is coming out.
right.
So you know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah, man, like you said, and I even said this at a podcast on Wednesday. Matter of fact, when it happened, and I was like, this, like you said, this is his true self. So
Right.
what we got on Wednesday is how he truly felt, because we all knew from the jump what it was all about. It is not essentially on the flag per se. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. There's
Right.
no. It's a silent protest,
Mm-hmm.
and it's supposed. And to me, how you see how the narrative was changed, and that's where, you know, how everyone changed it to their narrative, where it's like, okay, well, you know, because even at one point it was just okay, he sat down, then they were like this the disrespect, and then Nate Boyer, a Green Beret. Now, imagine Green Beret is a highly decorated military official. That a former NFL player, a long snapper, tells him, "Hey, I think what you should do is kneel instead of actually sitting down like he did previously."
Right.
Everybody knows that. Like everybody knows who Nate Boyer is. Like it's not a deep research. You don't have to. He'll come with the first results. Nate Boyer. Like more about Nate Boyer. I didn't even know Nate Boyer was in the NFL. Honestly. Like until he you know, of course, until he mentioned it, and you know, when it first came out. So that myth has been debunked when it all started. Because think about it, they met in September of 2016, and it's clear as day how he felt. And it's like, what's funny about it's like, it ain't like it's the situation where Colin Kaepernick was like, you know what, I'm just gonna just leave it up to somebody else to decide. He said it verbatim, like, look, the reason why I'm doing this because when you see the national anthem, you hear liberty and justice for all, blase, blase. But certain people, meaning us, I mean, you and I, and countless others, don't experience those things that the anthem, quote unquote, embodies. So we know that was the reason why. So it's just like, come on now, like now
I mean,
you want to talk about something, yeah.
Even when you speak on that, that's when it got extremely deeper. Though basic was, I see systematic racism, oppression, my people getting put down. But even that, it was like, man, look, when we out there, we get treated a certain way. Right. You know, like people really don't believe they risk it's and I'm not even, you know what, I'm be sensitive and not even gonna be mean. That and they really should. They should look at their kids the same way. They really don't believe when your kids leave that certain things can happen. Like the police can pull them over and they could be a certain way. Like they really can. And it's like you see that over and over again. And to the point now that they're killing them and it's on video. It's like every month, every few weeks, it's just over and over and over again. And sometimes it doesn't even make the national news. Somebody has to send it to a show or, you know what I mean? Or make it viral all the time, all the time, you know? And it's like, okay, what are you supposed to do? Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and kneel. I remember them quarterbacks and all of them when he was doing that, saying, man, he's not doing this for that. He's just trying to get out away from San Francisco. He's just trying to get a deal. I bet you the way people are going back and looking at people's Twitters and looking at old videos, I bet you they sitting there sweating and quiet as can be. One of them was on a legendary Super Bowl team and was the quarterback for the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean? Exactly.
He was one of the main ones laughing and joking about it. And it was all, you know, the, you know, entertainment. But this is way bigger than what it is. Like I just was outside with my little brother, like I told you about, to be going to Mississippi State, got a wonderful scholarship. And then he got his homeboy out there, and I'm just helping them with a car. And I sat back and I'm looking at them and I'm like, they in their 20s now. They young man. They should be enjoying being an American. They should be enjoying life.
Right.
But I have to sit here and worry about, you know, these police officers or certain individuals who's judging them because they've never seen them before. You know what I mean? Now, real quick story. Can I throw a story out there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, check this out. So you know what I'm saying? You got these neighborhoods, right? And I believe everybody wants to do things like the book tell us. You know, you meet somebody, you have a kid, you know what I mean? You get your own place, then eventually you rent maybe 2 or 3 homes, you get your own vehicles, and
you go. Yeah, we got you.
Oh yeah, my bad. I was like, you know,
you keep going. Yeah, you keep going.
You know,
yeah, you good.
So, you know, we end up moving to from Hopewell to Prince George. So this was like the really, really first big house that we renting, and we're in this nice neighborhood. I come out to get my mail. I feel like Puffy in the Bad Boy Forever video. When you walk out, get your mail, you got people running and jogging. Hey, welcome to the neighborhood.
You're right.
I'm like, wow. I'm on my way. I remember praying, saying, thank God I'm on my way. So then it's been about 4 or 5 months. I was driving home and the speed limit was 25. I may have been doing 27. And this gentleman was on a riding lawnmower and he pulled out. And he was pulling out. So I stopped. And then he stopped on a riding lawnmower now. So I go to take off to get around him. And he pulled out in front of me, top of his lungs. He said, you have to slow down. This is a residential and we have kids. The top of his lungs screaming. So I guess he didn't think I was gonna get out the car. So I jumped out the car and got in. And you see, he froze up, and then we going back and forth. And I told him, I said, man, he said, that's the problem with you renters. Y'all don't have no respect for anybody. Renters. And I'm word renters. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, damn. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know what? I'm American too. And I said, I live in this area.
Yep.
If I have kids, I have a daughter too. So if you felt like we were speeding or something, why couldn't you be the adult or the older person or the wise person, walk down to my house like a man or just an adult, knock on my door and say, hey, can I speak to you for a second? And I'll walk out with you and you say, look, man, I noticed you're new to the area, but I saw that you guys were driving a little too fast. Could you slow down for me? I said, but no, you want to sit here and scream and talk you along, and you'd have been wrong. I'd be dead wrong if I'd have knocked you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Big
and
time.
Then I jumped in the line. And then I thought, I thank Jesus for keeping me, mentally. Come to find out, guess what? He was a retired Prince George cop.
Wow. Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. I tell you, man, like you're saying, that's another thing where it's just like it's just weird. And actually, I'm going to pull up this comment real quick, in which we're going to get to that, Kiera, momentarily, because we're going to talk about the NFL's apology. And it kind of ties into what Kiera was saying about this, about essentially, how is it that we're still even talking about this, that the NFL is at least 70%, if not more, African-American. Cap gave the entire NFL platform, and they chose not to do a whole lot with it. I didn't see the 70% of the league taking a knee, which I have a theory for that. And we'll talk about that once we kind of get to the Roger Goodell public mea culpa.
I watched Pat McPhee, and he broke it down to a T, where he said, and then like I watched Kenny, inside the NBA, and I heard Shaq and Charles, and Shaq and Charles response was basically about the same. He apologized, and they felt his apology. They was more upset with his teammates and how the media was going hard on him. But Kenny said he was offended, and he said, one thing about sports, he said, I never hugged or gave a high five or really hung with the other race until I played sports. So Pat McPhee said that he said he wished the world would have more locker room talk. He said because when all this stuff hit, he said we were all in the locker room and we had open conversations about it, because he said a lot of people did think it was about the flag, but once it made everybody in there who might not, because we thinking everybody that's in these locker rooms have conversation, may go out to dinner. They don't.
Right.
A lot of them don't. They don't. So this opened the doors for everybody to truly have a conversation and tell their different experiences and stuff they've had to do with. So everybody didn't take a knee. Everybody, some people, majority of them did have him, but they all understood that it wasn't about the flag. So he said that is why a lot of the athletes and teammates and people like that was hurt, because he said everybody, all the NFL teams, everybody had these conversations in the locker rooms and they understood. That's why everybody kept moving forward. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he said that's why a lot of people were getting at him. He's like, man, what you've just done, you took us backwards. You know what I'm saying? You was supposed to be surpassed, supposed to be past that in some type of way. You know what I mean? From a locker room standpoint, not because Cap didn't get his job back. You know what I mean? So for Cap getting his job back, it definitely would have moved forward. It still was some issues that need to be taken care of. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but we'll definitely get into that, especially with the NFL, because I have and it's funny, and I will talk about that momentarily. But back to Drew Brees, where like it's almost like he's got to have changed behavior. Like you said, he was the one that you looked at Drew Brees as one of the guys. I mean, like I was one of the first ones we talked about. I think we talked about this pre-show a few weeks ago when Drew Brees got that deal with NBC, and I was ecstatic because I was like, you know what, that's good for something like that. And like you said, because you have this preconceived notion, like, I mean, Drew was a guy's guy, and you look at from that standpoint, and you're like, okay, well, I really, I mean, I was really excited because I know, and I don't know if you opposed it, but a couple people were like, why would they want Drew Brees? I was like, because everybody probably want the next Tony Romo. But when you look at that type of stuff, and it's kind of one of the things, it's kind of befuddling in the sense where you're like, wow, like Drew Brees really feels that way. But a part of me is like, everything else has got to be changed behavior. And to me, I know he's got to do this now to kind of save peace, because you're looking at it, he's going to be with his teammates within the next about 6 to 7 weeks in training camp. So he's really got to diffuse this quickly. So
I think he messed up that deal. I think he might have. I'd be shocked if he did.
I know, and it's funny, and that's one thing too, where I'm like, what NBC's going to do? Because, and that's my thing. Now I'm like, okay, well, what's NBC going to do? That will speak volumes, because if they keep him, you're like,
They're gonna go get Chris Carter.
Exactly. Now that would be a nice addition. But like you said, what it is basically, we're gonna see what NBC does, and I think I honestly think they're gonna stay put, because, and I honestly, and it's so sad that this might happen, it's probably gonna ultimately die down. And I think the whole thing with like Michael Thomas kind of diffused the situation, like, well, that's my brother and all that type of stuff. So we're gonna see how that plays out. But when people, I forgot what I was going to say. What my Angelou said. Oh, when they speak, listen.
Right.
And like you said, the first thing for a fact, like the first statement is how he truly feels. The next ones, the next, the next, and so on and so on. The next isn't one.
The next video, he looked like he really didn't want to do it. And
right, he looked distraught. He looked forced.
And he looked distraught.
And to be real with you,
right? He had his little edge up, little mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looked distraught, like he really didn't want to do it.
And he should know better. Out of all people, like we said, we talked about the locker room where you're a leader. Like, we looked at you as like in a sense, because he did he's the leader of the Saints. So you look at that type of standpoint, and you're like, could literally be the face of a franchise, and saying something like that in this climate, dude. Like, this is like, my thing is this, and it's so funny. Like, it's weird, like how all this came about. He was on a Yahoo Finance interview on Yahoo Finance. Like, no one would have even cared to notice that he was on Yahoo Finance and talk about that. I was like, that's crazy. But and I don't know how it's going to affect the Saints. I think if I'm one of those guys, especially an offensive lineman, I'm like, do I really block for this guy? What do I? What do you do?
But I know it's like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know it's like that, but I know it's like that. But if he gonna be there, you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, your actions speaking, everybody's actions speaking louder than words right now. Like, we would try to do, the whole setup is really, first of all, it was a peaceful protest crying out for help that was very powerful. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so even doing that, if you want a team, you getting paid to do it, then do what you're supposed to do. And then you look him in his eye. You know what I'm saying? What if y'all win the Super Bowl? You look in his eye, and all of y'all say, we got you here. We didn't, we did what we supposed to. It should be a sign of respect. You know what I mean? And we did that because you was our quarterback. You know what I mean? But you understand that when we out here, and I'm telling you, they really don't believe it. Like, they really don't believe the setup. Like, when we walk out of here, anything can happen. And it's a lot of it. It's really because of our skin. It is what it is. You know what I mean? People don't believe that, but it's true.
And that's the thing where I think, like I talked about last week, what's happening now is we're having an equalizer, which is technology, where now you get to see it. Like, you see the video of us doing Facebook Lives of us interactions with the police, and now you're like, oh man, this is is novel to some people, but we knew, like I said last week, we've known people probably in our generations going down where they might have found somebody dead on the side of the road. We just never knew what happened to that person. They just have a cell phone essentially. Which,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
good. Yeah, you good.
Or a person who saying, well, what happened to you, sir? Well, I got beat up by 2 black dudes. And then all of a sudden, he know there's like video cameras, not it's video cameras around, but people filming the whole thing.
Right.
And then you realize he was out there with a bow shooting people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh, we saw this. You know what I'm saying? Media out there putting out certain things, and then you have people who actually got video of what the media putting out, and you get the whole story. You know what I'm saying?
We're our own media networks now, essentially.
Right.
Where
and
now,
last situation, like it was just to the point where, okay, we got to stop filming. You know what I'm saying? You got to film because you need for evidence, but somebody's got to start saying, hey man, you got to get off of him. You're killing him, or vice versa. And you know what's the crazy thing about us too?
Yeah.
Even if what's bothering me, even if something's happened to any race, we like, oh, that ain't right. You know what I mean?
Right. We step up.
And the beautiful thing, it took some time, but some people like they're protesting and they're seeing that. But a lot of them on the other side, man, they're not necessarily going to be that way. They want to make an excuse of why it's happening, and it's coming out more and more and more. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anytime I see the police on somebody really, really deep, I'm like, yo, they ain't got to be that. They ain't got to do it that wild. There's no need for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no need.
And then one of the guys who charged, they claimed that he told him, "Hey, get off him," and so basically laid him on his. I think they laid him on his stomach, but he's supposed to like lay him off to the side, because when you this is what I was told from I think a YouTube video I seen of a cop. So when you apprehend like that, you already like essentially like your airways kind of compromised. So they're supposed to lean you to the side where you're able to kind of, get, have, have lung capacity essentially, because you're already apprehended. Your hands are behind your back. So they're really supposed to have you off to the side from what I was told. So he said, hey, you want to lay him on the side now? You want to lay him, lay him to the side? No. So, and that's another thing where you're just like, it's crazy. But, back to that point, but I tell you, man, it's a trip. And like you said, it's people still think this is novel. Like even Rodney King, it's been like 30 years. Like where you really seen, I call it, that I can recall, of a black man getting, brutally assaulted by the police. And that's 30 years ago. And people still think that this is like novel. This is something new. Like this just happened in 2012, 2000. No, this has been going on forever.
It's going on
since the beginning of time.
Like what we basically saying, most black dudes that are teenagers. Like I put a post up said, how old were you when a cop put a gun on you? And I know for a fact there's more people to do it, but I just thought it was powerful. You know what I'm saying? And one dude, and a lot of them are on the other side. You know what I mean? Because they don't. It's weird. I tell them. You know what I mean? Like some of them done been arrested, this and that. They do look at you somewhat as a criminal, even if you doing well now. You know what I'm saying? Well, they may say, well, he had a past, but once they feel like you have a past, they're going to bring that past up. I hate to tell you that. You know what I mean?
Right. Which you're right. Like everybody brings up these pasts, and I'm like, I don't care what you have done between that day and then the day that you get killed. You don't deserve that. There is a guy, and I hate doing this type of stuff, but you have to pull out polar examples. Dylan Roof goes to a church in South Carolina and kills 9 people in the middle of a Bible study. Right. He gets apprehended and scot-free. He killed 9 people.
Right.
He killed 9 people. And they took that man to Burger King before they took him to jail. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Right. And you want to talk about something, because George Floyd had a a counterfeit bill. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, a counterfeit bill? Like,
and
so
that
you
might not
mean
even
tell
be his
me?
fault. That might not even
Right.
be his
That could be the
fault.
bank. That could be anybody because the bank can even give you counterfeit money because, I mean, luckily that hasn't ever happened. But like you said, it's not his fault. And even to a point, it could have been handled. Like if you know, we've worked in stores. I've ran across people that has counterfeit money. Like, dude, that's just counterfeit. I like, you look at this marker, it's coming out black. It's no good. End of story. You got a credit card or you go. Like, if there was no need for any of this to happen. Like, dude, he could have just, I mean, if you would have just told that man it was a fake $20 bill or anything, why was even the cops even called in the first place? That's the thing that got me. Like over a counterfeit $20 bill, like people are killing people and getting and are allowed to, and unfortunately, allowed to be apprehended. Much less
Jersey. Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
My bad.
But yeah.
But in New Jersey, there was a guy who raped a girl. Ivy League, student and blah blah blah. He raped a girl, and they gave him hardly anything. They was talking about he do this and that, like almost like probation. He do this and that because they were saying they didn't want to ruin his life, but he raped her. Like they legally know he raped her.
Right.
He don't want to run this right. He just raped this girl. Now, what is wrong with you?
What about the woman's life? What about the woman's life? She's gonna be scarred for life. That's gonna probably mess up everything for her. She's not probably gonna be able to have a meaningful relationship. All kind of stuff. I
have so many stories. Bro. Go ahead. I'm just talking like
saying. And it's just crazy, like how and then that's another one which you will pull this up. Because they work together, and it's funny because I heard that a few weeks ago, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But now it's confirmed, and that's what it was. It was personal because you think about it, like going back to the story where you got that look on his face. It's almost like it was personal. It was personal because you like even when the police officer, hey, get off to the side, he's like, no, come on now, like you already know you constructing that man airway. Come on now. And then like the whole thing, and everybody would say, hey, get off him. What did he do? He kept on going. So and you could tell, and that's another thing where I hope they bring that into the court, essentially. And I hope they do, but yeah.
I be looking at these cops, man. So like yesterday, it was a bad accident outside Fort Lee. So I was driving from, I had to get on 295. So when I was getting on it, luckily I saw the accident. So when I was getting on it, my instinct said, look through the rear view. There's a cop car coming out of nowhere. He ain't had no blink, no turning signal. Like he was getting off it. He just was going so fast, and I knew that it was an accident. So I slowed down. I damn near stopped. You know what I mean? Because I was supposed to merge over to the left, and I was like, see, that's the problem, man. They so gung ho. You know what I mean?
Right.
They think to me they act like they playing Grand Theft Auto or. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to do like a Lethal Weapon movie or something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be some type of psychological training that's going on, man. And don't get me wrong, man. I believe there's a bunch of good cops. You know what I mean? I really do. I really, really, really do. You know what I mean? But I know from what I see, it's some, and it's funny. Because I remember when I was younger, I used to be around people, white people, black people, whatever. They could be white. Let's just say white. Some of my white friends. And they were a little bit older than me. And they'd be like, we'd be talking to somebody at a little party or something, having a little social gathering. And they'd be like, bro, this dude is such a cop. You know what I mean? It's like they could smell him out because there was some type of, you know what I mean? Like, was some type of arrogance. Right. Man. You know what I mean? And even some that try to portray that arrogance, they know I was cool. So they would like, kind of like guard me from the ignorance. You know what I'm saying? I know one or two people that's on my Facebook now. So I'm just shouting them up in a positive way because I don't want them to think that I'm attacking them. But in the end, I do feel being older now, a little uncomfortable about some of the teenagers, and not just black though, white and black. You know what I'm saying? But definitely some of my young, some of the young black dudes that's, hanging out. Like I was watching Chelsea Handler got a documentary on Netflix that came out
Oh
last year
yeah,
about
I
her
remember
life.
that.
And she went, when she was 16, she was staying with a black dude, and then didn't understand some of the circumstances because she said she would get pulled and they would find weed or whatever. They let her go, but the black dude she stayed with, he ended up doing like 14 years. She went back and met him and this and that. But he got like
Mm-hmm.
4 biracial sons, and he was supposed to play football, but he messed up his scholarships. But he got
Mm-hmm.
4 biracial sons, and it kind of fucked me up. I mean, sorry, man, it messed me
Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he has to tell them all these different rules and regulations to do because the police to keep them feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
like, told them not. He got 4 sons. He told them not to ride in a car 3D.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like they young. They supposed to enjoy life. You know what I mean?
Right. But they can't.
But like I said, like you live on the East End, right? Yeah. Do
Mm-hmm.
y'all even have like a place where y'all used to be able to drive up and see one another and chill, like an ice cream parlor or a gas station or
I mean, there
anything
was
like
some
that?
spots. Yeah, there was some spots that we used to go to
Well,
here and there. But yeah.
most places, man, they don't even let that happen anymore when
Oh
you
yeah, no,
black.
no more. Oh yeah. I
You know, I
mean,
was over
yeah. Because
Colonial
I mean,
Heights
mm-hmm.
used to have his parties over here off of 95, and they got this gas station around the corner in Prince George where the kids, they be like 80 deep. It'd be like 30 cars over there, and they just be chilling. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I don't see none of those type of things for these kids in Hopewell
Right.
or Chester and Petersburg. It's always an issue. You know?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, man. They don't like the what they call it. How can a congregation
Yeah, man.
the
They from
congregation.
that area too. You know what I'm saying? They from
Yeah,
that area too. You know what I mean?
they
But it's
hate
all
that.
good. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
man. So let's talk about the National Football League and Roger Goodell's apology.
Yeah.
I am not gonna bore you with the pretty much verbatim, but essentially, he's basically was saying, hey, what we did was wrong. Pretty much saying, hey, we're sorry that that we didn't understand the movement in 2016, and essentially that now that Black Lives Matter, and essentially, I mean, basically that's what he was saying, how racism is wrong and the systematic oppression is wrong. Pretty much, your
Do you
thought?
believe him?
Yeah, huh?
Do you believe him?
Hell no. And I'll
I
just
do.
explain.
You know
I
why?
do. I do. He does because what's at stake. But yeah, I'd let you
You know
take
why? You know why I do?
why.
Because he got that money. Before he got that money. Remember, he got that new contract. Before all
Yeah.
that other stuff happened, he didn't get that money. I just thought about that. I said when he was doing all that wild stuff, when they really wasn't backing it,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
how they
that's
wasn't
yeah.
when they wasn't really backing it. I'm just playing. I'm just because you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But man, it was stale. I know everybody's going to do that because everybody seems to want to ride the wave on a lot of stuff. You know
Right.
what I mean? And another thing is too, man, like
Right.
everybody at
Exactly.
home, and when they was, the big crowds and this and that and all that, they had a lot of heat on them. So it's easy now you ain't around those people. You know what I mean? To go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and say, well, we need to go this way. You know what I mean? But no, I thought he read it. You know what I mean? Like, not necessary. I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I think that for me, I know they was gonna have to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts. I don't really know, man. Like, everybody, all of them gonna necessarily try to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, but I know like he's locked in though. Also,
Right.
you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So he gonna do. My thing is, he spoke for. He kept saying we. I wanted him, speak for yourself. How do you feel?
Right.
That was one thing I had to read. I had to listen to it again, and I was like, you know, I want him to speak from his standpoint. And I want to feel like, how do you really feel about it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Not just we the NFL. How do you feel? You know, and that's
Yeah.
really my take on it. You know.
And this is gonna go back, and I'm gonna read back Kiera's comment. So how is it that we are still even talking about this? The NFL is at least 70%, if not more, African American. Cap gave an entire NFL a platform, and they chose not to do a whole lot with it. So I don't see 70% of the league taking a knee. So you know what? You know why? You want to really know why this happened? So Friday morning, there is a video that surfaced up with DeAndre Hopkins, Ezekiel Elliott, Tyrann Mathieu, and a couple other Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. And boom, the Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes saying, "I am Tamir Rice." I'm gonna be real with you. I guarantee you that was the biggest part for me. Him, Patrick Mahomes, and I said this on Sunday. So if you hear the story about Jason Reed, pretty much coming to my analysis on Monday, he was a day late and a dollar short. But I love Jason Reed from the Undefeated, former Skins beat writer. But I even said this on Sunday. I guarantee you, and I'm gonna go back. So when Colin Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl in 2013 against the against the Ravens. What if he would have hit that game-winning drive and would have got that pass and interference call that he so richly deserved? And he would have been the Super Bowl MVP of the 49ers in 2013. Then the next year, he decides to take a knee. They would have took it seriously because you know why? The money.
Everything about money.
At that point in Colin Kaepernick's career, he was expendable. He was a guy that could still be considered a starter in the league, but 9 times out of 10, he would have been a backup. So, of course, you're not going to take it serious because of that. But when you got a guy like a Patrick Mahomes, you're going to replace him within the next 5 to 10 years, potentially. You can't replace a guy like Patrick Mahomes. What he has done, he's a league MVP. He guided the Kansas City Chiefs to their first ever Super Bowl in 50 years. Clout. And you're gonna lose your cash cow because you want to be stuck in this archaic mode. No, you follow the money. It's the money. And I guarantee you that's what happened. And it's similar to what happened in the NBA. Donald Sterling should have been out of the NBA forever.
Right.
What ended up happening? The Banana Boat Boys was like, "Hey, get him the hell out, or we're not playing in the playoffs." Money. When you're that's why we always beg to these prominent players in the league to step up. Because guess what? They're the only ones, I think, in my honest opinion, can enact change. Just like what the NBA did, just what these guys did. I'm telling you, Patrick, I think without having Patrick Mahomes in that video, I don't even think they would have given a damn. But him being there solely, I think, helped the brand tremendously. He's about to be the face of your franchise. Drew Brees probably going to be gone next year. Tom Brady's going to be gone probably in 2 years. You know, these guys, the vanguard of the league is pretty much walking out the door. He's your next
Steph Curry.
Yeah, he's NFL Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He's the next superstar. He's the face of this league, fairly or not. But when he comes up and he does that, that's when change happens. Just like in the NBA. When your prominent players step up, you get rid of a guy who should have been gone years ago in Donald Sterling. I cannot believe that we're only 6 years removed of Donald Sterling gone from the league. He should have been gone years ago. I'm telling you, that's why when you hear Shannon Sharpe and you think it's crazy, well, he should have like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady stepping up against that. Because I guarantee you, if they would have been prominent in this run in 2016, we wouldn't even be talking about this in 2020. Hell, we wouldn't be talking about this on Legacy TV in 2017. It'd have been dead. It'd have been dead. Straight up. So we're just like, come on now. We know the reason why he did this. Because it's gonna mess up his money.
This protest is big money too, bro, because like this is like Like this was global. Like, man, you see
Yeah.
London, you see LA yesterday, and it's still going. It's still
Yeah.
going. Like, it's, you know what I mean? And New Zealand, like what's
Yes.
really, like, what is really going on? It's like, of course, you're like, they sitting there like, okay, well, this is not hard. This is where we have to go.
Right.
We've got to go this way. There's no ifs and buts about it. You
Yeah.
tried to fight it as long as you can, but you're only gonna be able to fight change for so long.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're only gonna be able to find it. You're only gonna be able to do it for so long. Like, it is what it is.
Right. And you know what that proves to you as well? This isn't a Minnesota problem. This isn't
Mhm.
a United States
Yeah,
problem. This is a global
no
problem.
problem. Man.
So, and
Yeah.
that's one thing when you see these other countries coming in unison, that just lets you know it ain't just here. It ain't just
Right.
in
And
the
that's the
area that you
problem too.
see.
They think it's
Right,
just about Floyd, and it's not just about
right,
Floyd. It's
right,
not just about Floyd, man.
right.
You know what I mean? What's the young man that got shot? I always mess his name up, so I don't want to say it.
Oh,
What's his name?
you talking about Aubrey? You know
Yeah,
from
to see that.
Georgia? Yeah,
Yeah, you
Aubrey.
see,
Yeah,
you actually see him get shot and him try to fight. Like, as a man,
right,
like, you see this
right,
teenager, he trying to fight these guys, and then they filming it. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
And,
Exactly.
like, what did you thought that was evidence? Like, what is that really for?
Right.
Didn't you find out they sending it through social media like it's a
Snapchat.
joke? You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Right. And you sitting there like, okay, tick, and then Floyd's video, and then right before that, it was a Britney, right?
Oh, from
Yeah,
Brianna from
Brianna, yeah.
Louisville. Yeah.
Yeah, like her, and then it's just like, man, okay, we got to stop filming. It's like it almost, and thank God that it's
But
majority of it was peaceful. You know what I mean? But it was some negative stuff that go on it. But people are angry and they're hurt. I think it's
right,
even like white people that's really starting to see it. Like, it's hurting them even more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, man, like, I thought it was this, and now it's this. You know what I mean? So a
right.
lot of people is going through a lot of pain between this because I'm like starting to see the truth.
You're right. Yeah, because like you're saying, we're starting to see it. It's almost like like our previous generation. They didn't know
Hmm.
what war was, but then once Vietnam came around, oh
Hmm.
man, this is how war is. You've seen it and it's
Right.
in your face. This is in your
Right.
face. You can't ignore it. It is the elephant in the room that you
Right.
cannot say, oh, you can't take a blind eye to an elephant in your living room. No.
Hmm.
Or an elephant on your phone. Or what I'm
Hmm.
saying, just in the grand
You
scheme
know,
of things.
I,
But yeah.
I watched Boys to Men, right? And you remember that scene where um oh boy had the cop pulled the gun and put it to his face?
Yeah.
And then he went home. When I was young, I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know how movies, they always gotta be so artistic. You be like, oh man, why is
Right.
he punching the air? Now you understand it because he had to
Yeah.
hold all that stuff
That,
in.
mm,
So he went
right.
over to the girl's house just so he could let it all out. You know what I'm saying? And all that emotion. So what could she do? The only
Right.
thing to do.
Kneel
You
long.
know what I mean? Right.
Oh Lord. All right, we're
I
supposed to
like
be serious, but it,
no, but it's
but
a real.
that,
It's real, man. That show you how important it is to have someone special in your life. Because when you in this world, man, you deal with all these obstacles and all these things that be on you, man, and you trying to keep a mask and just let me just keep it afloat. Let me just keep it afloat. And this dude just he already, you know what I'm saying, try not to be in gangs or try not to do nothing wrong, and he trying to do the right thing. Then he gets pulled out by the police for no reason, and this cop putting a gun in his face.
right.
Man, do you know? I remember a cop saying, "Man, if you lying to me, man, I'm telling you, man, I'll lock you up. Put it, you know, what I'm saying, I'll pull this right now and lock you up." You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, "Yeah,
There's
why?
no
What
need
is
for
this
that.
aggression coming from, bruh?"
No need for that. But yeah,
Damn.
man. Shout out to Brandy. All right, man. We gotta chill. But yeah, I think ultimately that's why the NFL apologized. I think they just realized that, and I think like a lot of corporations, they really realized like, hey, we may not want to alienate, the $1 trillion buying power that is of our melanin,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote. So they look at that and it's like Amazon. Amazon comes and all these other companies. I don't want to name drop because
Mm-hmm.
they're not
You see
paying
your
us.
fire stick? You see a fire stick, you click it on, you kick your fire stick on the main screen. It's the first thing it says Black Lives Matter.
You know what? It's funny because I played 2K this weekend and I'm like, huh? It threw me off. Because like I was playing, like like sometimes because I think it was like Friday night or Saturday, well, probably was Saturday morning, and I couldn't go to sleep. So I was like, well, let me just play a little 2K. And I'm just like, what? Like, this is crazy. And it's not like nothing bad, but it's just like, what? Like it shocks you because it's just like, but in the grand scheme of things, the NFL had to do what they had to do. I don't think it's genuine, but they know to keep peace. This is what we're gonna do. And then it trips me out, like as far as like hearing the comment squad and all these guys. Because I read comments. I'm a stickler for reading comments because I just want to what they call, like what a DJ will say. I like to gauge the room,
Right.
So it's like, the room is very boiling hot. Like, I mean, they came for my boy AP, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be quiet because matter of fact, it's weird because I think honestly the Adrian Peterson comment kind of sparked the Drew Brees thing, and then of course these guys want to have a smoke, like, oh, well, he's a child abuser. I'm like, bro, like really, we're gonna bring up something from 2014 that we don't quote unquote know. And that was another thing where he got suspended by money, which we talked about last week. But yeah, it just trips you out, and it's like, and he as far as because he was saying basically that generally the majority of the league is probably going to take a knee this year. But and the thing with the NFL is, and it's kind of fake because years ago, I think up until like 2009, prior to 2009, these guys wouldn't stand for the national anthem. They usually would be in a locker room.
Yeah. Right. Look, man. If you want to kneel,
right, do what you gotta do.
Do what you want to stand in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But the NFL is going. But you know why they are out there for the flag? Because the Department of Defense gives them money.
National Guard. Yeah.
Right. So I guess they want to create this patriotic environment. So that's why you like, you know what? And if the NFL was smart, they could have did all this. But now they want to keep it going because guess what? It's money. It's all about the money. If you really wanted to have peace or what have you, you could have did this mea culpa in 2016. You could have said that the moment
you know what they did. You remember what they did, right? They did like even what's your boy Cowboys owner? Remember when they came out and they all held each other and they all took a knee and then you know what I mean?
I remember that. We seen that game and we were just like despicable.
Right. And they all did that. You got Ray Lewis in was it in England or London or something like that, and he all on holding their hands and he down on his knees and he crying and throwing the grass in the air. You know what I mean?
Y'all just doing too
much. They
did
do it. Let me tell you, man. What they was trying to do is figure out a way to keep it somewhat balanced. But I think if you pay attention, everything that they've tried to do the last few years, like even the Super Bowl, the Latino Super Bowl that they just had, you know what I mean? Halftime, they for some reason they still say they getting emails of people complaining about J-Lo and the two young ladies, you know what I mean?
And Shakira,
somebody was two strippers, but when the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Prince had them girls on their dancing, they say nothing. You know what I mean?
And that's too. I hate when people like, look, it's the Super Bowl. Like, you have to cater to everybody. I remember when they had, matter of fact, after Janet Jackson, they had the Who. So it was me, JB, my boy Eric, and I don't know who else it was. Oh, one of my coworkers from back at CVS. So we all just chilling. They was like, man, who the hell is the Who? Like, bro, who you telling? I don't know who they is either. So it's just like you sit there, like, we all like you got to have somebody that everybody knows. And it kills me when they do this type of stuff and they're like, oh, it's too racy and it's too provocative. I'm like, it's a Super Bowl. It's the biggest spectacle of sports.
Right. And it's like, It's like anytime they do something that happens, it's like, okay, we gotta. It's a certain like class of people, or like people that kind of grew up in the '60s, '70s. It's like, okay, it seemed like they um get to complaining or something like that, and they say, okay, well, we got to get like a classic rock band, or we got to do this just to keep them happy. They do that for 2 years, then they get more modern years out. What I'm saying, after like that third year, like they've been forgiven. It's like the NFL always seemed to me to play all these different sides. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I do, what I mean, like I mean, part of it think is fake, but I think some of it, I do feel like moving forward, man, they probably do want to keep it. I think they want to be more modern. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And they were actually kind of diffusing the situation anyway, up until
Mm-hmm.
2000, I think, 17 to 18, when the former owner of the New Jersey Generals of the USFL stepped in and had this little tyrant, like, suspend these SOBs, get them off the field, cut them, release them. Then he comes back on them. So, and this is like, I think, what, like 2000, I think maybe 17 or 18. Probably was 17. And like, that's one thing where they tried to diffuse it as the best they could, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just these factors just come up and you're just like, what the hell? Like, and of course he comes into it, and I'm glad, I'm so glad Roger Goodell didn't get in this game with him, this cat and mouse game, because of course the executive producer of the Apprentice clapped back and was like, well, you're okay with your players taking a knee? And I'm so glad Roger Goodell had the intestinal fortitude to not say anything, unlike your boy Drew Brees. Like, these guys, like, there's no need to bark that tree. Like, come on now. Like, and I just thought that was really dumb for him to say that. And then it's just like, and I'm so glad that Roger Goodell didn't say nothing or try to get into a Twitter war with him. Just like, it's crazy.
Well, just to Dub, I know we on Roger Goodell. Let's just slide over to the NBA if I can, real quick. How did you feel about your favorite basketball player ever and what he did?
Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. And this one thing too, where everybody is so critical of what other people's do. I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah.
we got to stop doing this type of. If you're not doing anything to enrich your community, you just need to shut the hell up.
Right.
Like, for real. And I even said this back in 2016 when he was giving money to the department, like one, it was a police department. I think it was like the NAACP. I think he did like a $2 million split where one get 1 million and one the other. And people were criticizing him then. And I'm just like, are you giving at least $1 to the NAACP? Are you giving them $1? Are you giving them? Are you volunteering? Are you doing anything in your community? Like, are you? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I hate when people do that, and it's just like, oh, it's 30 years too late. No, it's never too late. It's never too late to do the right thing. It's never too late.
Some people don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? And some people, it's a natural thing for them to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I volunteered at the food pantry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was perfect for me because I worked all those years in produce and at the grocery store. So I was like, wow, me learning how to do that, I can go work at the food pantry, and I could all those skills I learned that I could do and make things easier for the person who actually trying to organize it. Because some volunteers, they not really good at some of the stuff that they do. You know what I mean? But they could present it for people, and you know what I mean? So some people don't really know. I didn't know that. I was so upset the first time I got there, and I was like, oh wow, man, this is great. You know what I'm saying? It was perfect. Made me feel good. You know what I mean? And Michael, some of the stuff that I don't know, I'm sure Michael did some stuff behind the scenes. You know
he
what
does
I mean?
stuff. Yeah, and that's the thing, right?
He did. But I do think that he understood of, I think his hands was tied on a lot of stuff back in the day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think his hands was tied a lot of stuff in the back in the day. And I think even now, he probably went back. He might have necessarily see it like, man, I wish I'd have did this better. And that's okay. That's a human. You being a human being. That's okay. You everybody make mistakes. As you get older, you're supposed to learn from your mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's okay. So I feel I'm happy. And then like, this is touchy also because I'm sure even though he Michael Jordan, I'm sure it's some stories that people let
Yeah,
him know. I don't care that you Michael Jordan. I know
right,
exactly who you are, but you still gonna do
right,
what I'm telling you to do.
right. And that's why people don't understand this isn't about class. This is about race. Jordan is from Wilmington, North Carolina. Like North Carolina. That's just as worse as Richmond. Like and when it comes to the history of the South. You don't think Jordan encountered stuff like that back in the day? And the thing about this thing that kills me with people, it's not even about with us in normal races. It's the has versus the have-nots. It's we all fighting the same battle. Like, and a perfect example: me versus LeBron James, same age. He has more money than me. I have hair. He doesn't. But
That's the
in the
second
same
time you
token,
done been.
no, it's just,
That's the
no,
second time, dog. You done threw a
no,
shot. I heard
no,
the
but
banana
no,
boat
but it's
stuff
all love
about
though.
5 minutes ago.
But it's all love though. You know, it's all love. But in the same token, they're still gonna look at him and I as a black man,
Right.
regardless of our class, regardless of what we have. I have a shortcoming when it comes to money compared to LeBron. And I'm
Y'all,
saying like
y'all
stuff
both
like that.
y'all both
Where
cheap though. Y'all both cheap.
yeah, I mean, hey, it's economical. It has to be economical friendly. But
Uh,
But like you said, and that's one thing too people fail to realize too in this struggle, where it doesn't matter your class or what have you, you are still going to be viewed as just an average black dude. You're gonna be labeled the black guy, regardless
mhm.
of what you do,
Right.
you know? And that's
Right.
when people kind of fail and miss the mark with it all and with all of this that's going on. I'm like, it's a problem. It's not just he's a millionaire. He's never gonna have that. He may not have it indirectly, but who knows? Just like with Steven Jackson, that was Steven Jackson's boy. Like that affect him. It's all good.
Right.
It affects everybody. It may not
It will.
happen to you indirectly, but I mean, it may not happen to you directly per se, but it could be a family member. It could be a brother, a nephew who don't know who that you're a famous athlete's best friend or a nephew or what have you.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. Like
Mhm.
that's what I think people fail to where they miss the mark ultimately.
One thing is, if you don't understand it, rather you voice your opinion. Why
Right.
don't you necessarily like if you ask somebody that you work with? Like, let me tell you, this is maybe not. I mean, we gotta be open minded with this one. All right.
Right.
So I remember being at work. Excuse me. It's
Hmm.
Christmas time, and Nelly's first album came out.
Yeah.
Right. And Nelly's first album came out, and I remember sitting at I was sit down. It was in the smoke area, right? I had all these mothers and dads coming to ask me, "Hey man, you ever heard of this rapper named Nelly?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they
Oh
was like, "Man, I
boy.
just don't like the profanity of cuss words." Now you understand what I'm saying? And I was like, "Well, okay, I can understand that." I said, if you go to Walmart, they have it they have it with no cuss words and no such and such, right? And
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, that conversation, you know what I'm saying, there's
Right.
nothing you could do about it. They like Nelly. They didn't like Kenny Chesney. I'm just being honest with you. They wanted Nelly. They might like Kenny Chesney, but they wanted Nelly at the time. But their
Right.
parents was like, I don't like the cuss words or you know what I'm saying, or the sexual conversation that they have, like, you know what I mean. I said, well, just go to Walmart and you can get it. Man, Nelly, like, he was like, yeah, I got like 3 or 4 kids, each child wanted their own CD. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? All I'm
Right.
saying is just respectful conversation. When you voicing
Right.
your
Right.
opinion, why don't you just go ask somebody that you necessarily know? If you don't know no black people, okay, cool. Okay, I can understand it. But if you know one or two, it should be a necessarily conversation. You know what I'm saying? You know who texted me?
Who?
Remember that lady that I sat with when we went on the road, but we on the
Yes.
airplane from
Yes. Bro.
Dallas? She hit me
Yes.
up and she said, I want you to let you know, regardless of anything, that you mean the world to me. I think you're a special
Wow.
person and your life matters to me.
Wow. That's amazing.
Perfect example. Perfect
Right.
example. Perfect example. How hard
Right.
is that?
Right.
You
Another
ain't got
one,
to
he
put that on
right.
Facebook. You ain't got to put
Right.
that on Facebook. You ain't got to
Right.
do none of that. Everybody don't need to know.
Text me. You're right. Just text me and it'd be between me and you.
Right.
And I would tell
Appreciate that.
that, yeah. And I would tell the other friend about the Nelly, how about watching back in the day, watch a BT Uncut at 3:30 in the morning.
I ain't want to tell
You'll
him that.
definitely
I ain't want
love
to tell him
Nelly.
that.
You'll definitely love
I
Nelly.
I ain't want to tell him that. I ain't want to tell him that. That's a whole different side.
Shout out to Uncut. It's oh my god, that's that was a very adolescent great moments in my adolescence during
Man, it
those
was good.
times, but it was a good
It was
time.
that one. That one. My favorite one was the one that was she was in ATL. And he told her,
Oh yeah,
"Hey, you need to get your car tune up."
yeah,
He was my favorite one.
yeah,
He was my
man.
favorite one.
It's wow. So the NBA is, I guess, officially back.
Officially
Barring
back.
anything catastrophic, the NBA is back. So it's going to start on July 31st in
Yeah.
Orlando. 22 teams got invited, 13
Right.
in the West, 9
Right.
in the East.
Right.
Man, your thoughts on just the NBA coming back? Get your thoughts.
Man, I'm excited, bro.
Yeah.
Like I told you, this is one of my favorite years of in a long time, man. Like, and I'm just excited. And I'm excited too because now that I get older, I understand like corporations and businesses and and I love being creative and I love where you have to be open minded and you have to come up with a scenario, you know what I mean? Think outside the box that's out of the
Absolutely.
norm to make things happen, you know what I mean? And I'm just excited. You know what I mean? I'm just excited that they figured it out. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I don't know if it's gonna be perfect. I don't know, but I just feel like, it can't be perfect. It's the first time they ever doing something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, the first thing when I found out the 9 teams doesn't make it to the Eastern Conference, as a Bull fan, I was like 1, 2, 3, CANCUN. Like, yes, the season is over. I was so excited. Like, yes, like I said 2 weeks ago, I don't want no parts of this.
They watching our show. They
Because
watching our show.
it's just like, look, I don't want no parts of it being. I like, and the thing with it's one of the things. It's kind of for the circumstance. It's a perfect situation. It's one of the things where I used to have reservations about it, but they checked every box that I, as a concerned
Right.
fan, was the whole thing of them being isolated. Because I always thought Vegas couldn't do it.
Right.
Orlando, you can be, the whole thing of making a decision if you can bring your family or not, which they'll bring them within a few weeks. I guess assuming after teams get eliminated and less people are going to be on, I call it the bubble, which is the wild world of sports. But you get that. Then the whole thing about how they're going to do the teams, where they're going to play 8 regular season games, which I like that because it kind of gets you to a point where, okay, some fraction of rhythm instead of going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. What's going to be interesting, which I'm finally glad I was able to comprehend how the play-in game would be. So essentially, if the 8th and 9th seed are within 4 games of each other, they will play in a play-in game. So if the 8th seed wins that first game of the play-in, they're in. Now, this is when it gets tricky. So if the 9th seed wins versus the 8th seed the first game, and the 8th seed wins on the second game, the 8th seed is in. But if the 9th seed wins both games of the play-in, they'll be in. Yeah. It took me like 3.5 days to comprehend that.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. And it's just like,
is it the playoffs going to be the same?
Yeah, it'd be the same format, 7 games.
Okay.
And it's going to be interesting. And then they're saying that they're going to be playing 4, like, so the kind of courts are they'll be probably playing 4 games at a time. I would
Yeah,
assume
I
like
heard that. So it's gonna be
I
more
think
than
that's
one court.
yeah, it's gonna be 4 courts.
Okay.
That's gonna be interesting. I think that's gonna
Yeah,
be
man.
fun.
Don't you wish that if what if they said they could let at least 1,000 people in the town? You know, so you try to figure out. You'd be like Willie walking the chocolate factory. Like, I hope I get this golden ticket, bro. You know what I mean?
I'll be on it, like, cause that, and it's funny because I wonder how it is, cause I went like in '98, so that's been like 22 years ago, and I loved it because it was, as a sports fan, you're like, this is perfect. It's like a bubble, and that's why, like, when I first heard, I was like, oh snap, because everything is there. It's a resort, so it's like anything that you could possibly want to do.
Yeah.
Area. So just hell yeah, if they was like, you can bring me, like, fans can come, man, I'd be like, look,
And just put me in the skybox.
Right.
I ain't gotta be on the floor. Put me in the skybox.
Right.
I'm good. You know what I mean?
Right. I'll be straight. Like, just put me in. I'll be by
We need to stop. We need to stop because I'm telling you, they watch the show because we get everything we want every time we say something.
Right.
If it don't happen, bro. If it don't happen,
man. I am not going to front. I have been watching things and like getting excited. Like tomorrow, the Pro Football Hall of Fame opens back up. And I'm thinking to myself, that's another thing where I'm like, and then I've been following very closely with the VHSL. So schools might be coming back, I think, for the most part in this fall. So that means HSHS games. They play a team in West Virginia. Will I be going to West Virginia in August? Like those type of things. You're like, okay,
and you don't mind. And you don't mind driving anymore too. That's what's crazy.
I know, right? That's weird. Like I used to hate driving, but now it's like 3-hour drive is like a walk in the park.
Right, it's like a walk in the park.
Like, because I remember I used to drive to Charlotte like every year, like twice a year, and I used to be like, man, it wore me out. But I'm like, man, we drove
I don't like to drive
everywhere.
Yeah, I don't like to drive from Virginia to Charlotte for some reason. I don't know why, and it really ain't nothing. It's nothing. I just for some reason don't care for it.
And it's weird because now, like, right, and it's weird because like now I probably could do that like easily. But like you said, now it's easy. You know, driving like it's no thing. I used to hate it though.
Just a quick question, man. If you could tell the story for all the new viewers, because I know we did big things the last one, so I know we got some new people watching us.
Yeah.
When I first met Coach, I told him I was going to take him to Akron, and I told him that I was going to show him the city, and I told him that, man, you're going to go to the Football Hall of Fame. Yep. Can you please express the situation, like how you even got there, real quick? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, just how you know, as far as the job or just in general.
Just in general, just your experience, like how you end up going there, how you was feeling when you thought that you were going.
It was weird because like, so we talked about this like in like August of like the previous year in 2017, and I'm like, oh man, that of course you told me about about it way months before,
yeah,
and I was like, yeah, that would be crazy like that happens, and then. What's funny because we got on the job, we about 6-7 weeks in. So then now we were in Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
So then that's when we went to San Jose, California. When we went to San Jose, San Francisco, the whole nine.
Right.
Silicon Valley. That's just for nuts and bolts.
Right.
But so then because we didn't know where we're gonna go after we left, San Francisco.
Right.
And then of course, we used to get like pretty much like a group text message of what, because when we traveled, we knew what hotel we were going pretty much en route.
Right.
So then all of a sudden I was like, Canton, Ohio. Now, mind you, I'm in San Francisco. And first thing I was like, I did directions from our hotel to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I was like, oh my God, it is 3 miles away from our hotel.
That was so funny. He was like, Sean, it's like 3 miles away.
I was like, no way. And then I was like, it is funny because what was weird about it all, because we went high and I was like, well, we're going to go to another state. Where are we going next? And then come to find out we was in Canton, which is now, like 30 minutes away from Akron. And like, this is crazy.
Right.
It tripped me
and
out.
I told him in May. I was like, because he at the time he was different. He was active Jordan, and he still is.
Yeah.
I was like, man, your whole take on LeBron is different. What I said, I'm gonna take you one day to
Mm-hmm.
go see where he's from, and I said at the same time it's gonna be cool because I said, man, you be to go to the Football Hall of Fame. He was like, oh no, yeah, I will be able to, you know what I mean, blah blah blah. So
Mm-hmm.
my mind,
That's
and I
crazy.
know how much you love sports. Is all I see is you with your Redskin jersey on or a hoodie with your
Mm-hmm.
book bag on and some slides,
Yep.
and you're just like a little kid walking in the Hall of Fame, just
Yeah.
looking at everything, like you know what I'm
It
saying,
really
with some
was.
ice cream or something, with some
And
ice
it was
cream or something.
and it was weird, like driving down George Hallis Way, and it's like, I'm here, yo. I'm here. Like this is like it trips me out. It still trips me out to this day. That's like 2 years removed from it. Like I
Mm,
got here. Like it's crazy.
right,
It's
right.
wild.
And that made me feel from a spiritual standpoint, man.
Yeah.
And I like, that's why this whole situation bothers me because for me, I love for people to be able to, I'm a military kid, man. So I saw
Hmm.
castles and all these things. So I love for people to see like their dream or just being
Right.
able to be a part of that. And I knew, man, like I told you that was gonna happen. And he was like, man, you know what I mean? And I hated that I should have been there with you. You know what I'm saying? I should
Yeah.
have been there with you to even, because I really, what I'm saying, I don't really be tripping off like that. And I said, man, I thought about I said, man, I probably should have went with him and lived that moment. Because in my
Yeah.
mind, I was like, I know he's looking at everything like, man, they go Dion, they go this, they go that.
I took so many like pictures of busts. And it's funny because I still have them in my phone, my old phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, it's crazy like how many pictures I took that day. I think I only posted like 10, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
I probably had like over 100 pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
it's
think
right.
that might
Mm-hmm.
have been the second step of you like really like, okay, first you went to Freeman and Sam when you went to California, you was like you could tell you was changing, but I
Yeah.
believe that I think when you went to Canton, I think you really started changing a little bit and was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
going to be an experience. You know
Right.
what I mean? Even though you wrote that letter, remember you wrote that letter, you was thinking about leaving.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had it typed up. Man, I had that resignation letter lasted for like I swear to God, I'm gonna be real with you. So when we got that, so when we found out, because we found out October the 8th,
Right.
I literally was gonna pull the trigger like 2 or 3 days after that. I literally was, and I like, oh, like that's like,
You
but it
did it
just go to
right.
show you, it go to show you, because I know I'd have been pissed off when I wouldn't have got that $1,500.
Right. And that's what's crazy.
Like,
You didn't even take a second vacation.
no, that's
So I know
crazy,
you got some money. I know you got
right?
some money.
It was just extra week, like,
Mhm.
but we was
And
riding that week too. We was in Memphis,
right.
but
But
yeah,
back to what we were talking about. Let me see. What I wrote down some stuff. I said, I think, after the last dance, I feel like everybody, um, there's no excuses. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like I think
right,
everybody's excited to want to play. It seemed like what it said, all the reps, they approve the
mm-hmm.
scenario, the plan, for everything. Shout out to Chris and Adam, saying for really sitting down and putting
Right,
things together. Seemed like it made everybody happy. And
mm-hmm.
like we talk about money, they they invested a lot of money in Zion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, the Pelicans was on TV more than the Lakers.
Yeah,
You know what
right,
I mean? And it was I'm like, oh my God, the Pelicans again. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
Zion has a chance to maybe making the playoffs, which I really
right,
think that's what they want. And I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying
right,
from a league
right.
standpoint, I'm not mad at that.
It makes sense.
Um, the gambling is going to be interesting because there's
Yeah,
uh, um, they said it's only going to be like a 1,600 people allowed. So a lot of media people is trying to figure out a way to get there. They said the gambling is going to be crazy because one guy said this would probably be the hardest or toughest championship to ever win. Like this
right.
is really going to stand out. You know what I mean? They were saying some of the terms was even with some corny, wacky terms. Like they were talking about people that was already there. Like they get certain more fouls, some stupid stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
7 fouls. Yeah, you get one
Yeah,
person that designated to get 7 fouls. Like that's
they
crazy.
tripping. Come on. But they was even talk about, because there's really no home. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? No home court. So they were saying that they were trying to figure out a way to maybe bringing, um, like the actual courts from
right.
certain rim. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Like, bro, stop it. You know what I mean?
That's
Just
why I say
stop. Just
basketball.
stop. It's basketball. When it all comes down, everything comes down, it's still just basketball. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, it said that a lot of people's feeling bad because the Bucks, I think it's like 28-3 or 25-3
Mhm.
at home, and 76ers got the best home record, and they said they feel bad for them because they ain't got no home. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna be at home. So, but in all said and done, it's gonna be raw. It's gonna be interesting. They're gonna have to play basketball, man. They're gonna have to dig deep.
Yeah, and that's one thing too where I just want to see how the players react. And like as far as we're gonna have a lot of upsets because I know you hear on both ends of the floor, both ends of the spectrums. Well, this is gonna be good for the teams that are better than the other team, but in the party, like not really. Like if you're an underdog, it's like I got nothing to lose. Like
Right, you got nothing to lose,
if you
man.
had
I gotta
nothing to
wait.
lose,
I done
like right,
slip my way in there too.
right,
You tripping. And then they getting tested every day.
right. Oh god, like oh,
Right. Like what kind of testing they doing? And you talk about the joint all the way up the nose.
I
Ain't that the only
know.
testing they
Oh
got?
hell no. I'm not gonna say that little Lamar, but damn. The thought of that makes me like I don't know. Everything you want to just throw up, like it makes my stomach hurt to think that something like that go deep in your nose like that. And then I seen one where they did it and they did like a ring around. I'm like, oh, mm. I'm like, this can't be life.
So
I'm
for
like,
me, even that alone, man, that might
right?
I don't
That's
know,
gonna.
man.
That's,
Like
I don't know. Maybe
that
like
might make little people uncomfortable. I think that might make things worse for some of the teams too.
right,
Because of that, what I mean, you don't know rich reels. You don't really know a lot of stuff. Like some of these dudes are prima donna divas.
right.
You know what I mean? And some of them, you know, what if somebody? And then they was like, "Oh, what's up,
Yeah.
Katie? Uh, um, right, ball up, shut up is the score. That's right. No excuses. Um, some people said that if you test positive, you got to be quarantined for 10 days.
Right. Which you would miss a series essentially almost. Because if
Right?
you
You know
play
what I'm
every
saying?
other, because you play every other day,
Bruh.
you missing 5 games of a series.
And to me, anybody, and then they were saying also it might affect the Olympics or something like that, or next season might affect the Olympics.
Yeah.
And Jalen Rose was like, man, if they have the Olympics next year, then if you a star player, you just shouldn't play. It's NBA should have more, other stars that didn't make the playoff. They should be able to play in the Olympics. A whole bunch of Chicago Bulls.
Well, shoot, ain't nobody. Only one guy gonna be them if possible. But the thing about it is, the guys who really would be there. I mean, maybe like a Paul George. I mean, guys, and like as far as who would make a deep run in the playoffs. And that's another thing
But
where that's going to tie into the season starting early,
Mhm.
but next season's supposed to start December 1st.
Right.
That's my biggest issue. I don't think that's just too much of a. It's too short of a time because if you're playing Game 7 of the NBA Finals, which will be October the 12th, which is weird, but so you play that, and then training camp starts on the 10th of November. 28 days in between.
Right.
That's crazy when you sit down and think about what.
And they're saying if they do have the Olympics, that is going to the season is going to go into when the Olympics is. So, like he
Right.
said, it's easy until things get all the way. It's going to take some years until things can get back to normal. It is what it is, and then we all know a lot of teams hadn't played 60 games yet. So that's one of the
Right.
reasons why they got to pay these local
Right.
networks, and because if they don't, that's $10 million.
Right. Down
A
the
lot of
drain.
money. Right. So they had to take care of that. And that's okay. Give us some warm ups to get there. You know what I mean? They have nothing. I
Yeah.
hope, like I said, they need to take their money and they need to do better when it comes to their app. Like their app has
Right.
got to do better. It's horrible, man. It is
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was funny. My biggest days I'm clowning is August 25th, the draft lottery, then October 15th, the NBA draft. But I think it's gonna be funny. I'm really curious of how the NBA is gonna stack up with the NFL. That's my biggest thing because the NFL it will be in the playoffs while the NFL regular season starts. And I'm like, I'm loving it from a fan perspective because I can watch multiple games that are of interest. Just see how the NFL playoffs will stack up against the NFL. My biggest thing, if there's a game 7 on October the 12th, will it beat Monday Night Football? That's my thing. And I'm like, this is going to be just the whole ratings war for me is what's intriguing. Because I don't have a dog.
Do you know what game is October 12th?
For Monday Night Football? I do not know, but I will check on that right now.
If it's the Browns, they don't have nothing to worry about.
No. Let me pull that up real quick.
I like how when I throw a shot, your voice gets deep. Oh, Sean, stop. Let's let it go.
Y'all be going at it. I'd be like, all right, guys. Let me pull this up. So we got October the 12th. Let's see. Of course they don't have what I'm looking for. But yeah, man, that's the thing where I'm interested with that because let's see what I have here. I'm gonna pull this up. Week 12. No, that's on October 12th. You got the Los Angeles Chargers at the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, we ain't worried about that. They're gonna lose.
I don't know. I don't know. Could this be a Tyrod Taylor versus Drew Brees, Justin Herbert? It's gonna be interesting. The Chargers go east, and one of the toughest crowds in the NFL. I mean, that's gonna be interesting. It's not gonna be Kansas City and Baltimore, granted, but I'm telling you, I'm just curious.
I'm curious too, but you know what? I'm down for Tyrod.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do, but the Chargers and the Saints, which was my Super Bowl prediction in 2020. Like, that's crazy. You can't make this stuff up,
right?
But that's crazy. Like what the previous Super Bowl who I had predicted, but yeah. Now when you sit there and you think about it, could a Lakers Bucks Game 7 versus a Chargers Saints? I know Game 7. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Like, think about that. Like, that's crazy. Right. Of how I mean, I don't do they even still do picture in picture? Like, that's a picture in picture matchup. But I guess now you just get your, I'm showing my age tonight. But that's
I wonder if they ever wanted that. You think they've ever wanted where the NBA could show that they had a little bit more, they was more superior than the NFL? Because I've always felt like everybody had like the NFL is more superior than the NBA.
But we're gonna find out. This is the perfect. This is the perfect example of who is the real king, because you got the NBA in the playoffs now. Granted, when they competed with each other, they play in a meaningless regular season. Because in the NBA, who gives a damn about the NBA from October to so pretty much at the Super Bowl.
Man,
to the ship focus. That's why now they're in the playoffs. Like, might have some Game 7s coinciding with Monday Night Football games. Monday night games, college football, like
Ooh,
so it's just like
right.
it's just crazy. Like we might have,
Really a
so,
shift. It's a
right.
real shift.
It's gonna be fun. Like, it's gonna be fun just having those type of options set in like late August, September into October. Like 3 major leagues
Right.
pretty much are gonna coincide with each other. It's
What about
crazy.
baseball? What's going on with baseball?
Baseball, they need to get their act together. What's weird with them? I don't. That's why I'm saying this is how really essentially how life works. The sport that you think that probably had to put money on everything, where the season where you won't have, as far as the season will end on time, and I think they'll be able to complete the season without any, as far as issues, as far as health and what have you, or like a lot of people saying that it could be a second wave going into the fall. So their World Series will end on Halloween on October 31st. So you would think if they're saying the second wave, then they'll probably be able to finish and everything in play. And also with the NBA as well. But this whole labor thing, there's such odds, like, and it's bad, and I feel bad for the players because as you don't want people to take slices out of your pie. But when you live in a world now that has 40 million people unemployed, you look like a jackass complaining about money. So there is such a pickle, and this is like people don't want to hear because you want to, that your owners want to take a revenue split, and you're like, this is my money, right. But then in the same token, it's just bad PR, like, because no one's really going to side with you. You're a millionaire, and there's people out here that don't even know where their next stream of income can come from. So it looks
crazy, man.
It looks optically they're in a messed up situation.
Look, so to me, it's weird because Jerome, when we had a discussion a few weeks ago, and it was more or less about the health of the players and if we're going to have sports at all, he said that he was not really worried about baseball. And what you're telling me is more or less a money issue, a business issue, is why they haven't moving forward, and that's crazy to me.
Right? Because
you know what I mean?
Because when we talked about it, we were like, well, they're the perfect sport because it's social distancing at its finest. Where you're outside, and then everybody generally is 6 feet from each other. I mean, maybe besides the batter and the catcher, and then maybe for guys on base with the first, another run on base versus the baseman, whoever's there. And it's not like that would have been the perfect sport. So that's why, and then they would have been easy. It's easy for them to come back because they haven't even started their regular season. So it ain't like a situation where you got to create a variable and be like, well, we got to give people a fair shake because if we get ready to enter the playoffs, you haven't even started the season. So it's like you get there, you start early, and then they going back and forth. They going between having a 74 game regular season, 114 games. It's just going back and forth. Yeah, because at that time, we didn't think they would have this much of labor unrest because they agreed on the CBA. Well, not the CBA, but they agreed on revenue shares in March. So we figured everything was good. And then now it's crazy. And it's weird because the MLB, they're the ones who really need to strike the iron while it's hot. And it's just like, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all about to be the ones who are going to be holding the bag at the end and going to look stupid.
Right.
Because if you don't start, like, because they were supposed to start, like, I think they want to start, like, July 10th. Perfect. Go. You do that. And then that's another thing. They got to get it done because just imagine, even though they wouldn't have to compete with the NBA, well, Major League Baseball playoffs would kind of coincide with it in a sense, but that plus the NBA, plus the NFL, man, they got, and then NHL's coming back, so that's gonna be crazy.
So it just
Like,
seemed like you think that's what the real issue is? It's the wrong people running everything.
well, no,
That's why I said.
I think it's just like everything where like the players, they, you know, as far as the revenue shares, they just look at it from a different perspective versus the owners. And then the owners don't really want to kind of bush back. They want to pretty much essentially pay them for how many games they play. And of course, the players want to kind of get a little bit more, which you understand on both ends that, hey, you know, I'm risking, you know, and most of the players are like, well, we're risking our lives to essentially play this sport. Like, we need some compensation. But you get it. But optically, that's by far like the most worst thing that you can say in this skin. Like, you worry about, you know, and these people out here who are risking their lives, like we talked about, you know, weeks prior, like the essential workers, people working in grocery stores and stores, and they get paid way less than these guys. So of course, when you make up that type of comparison, it just comes out disingenuous, and rightfully so. Whereas other people who are risking more and getting paid less. So
That's crazy, man.
yeah,
You know, because I was sitting here, I hadn't heard anything, man. And then, you
yeah,
know, for me too, I don't know. Maybe it's like baseball wanted to take a sit back, but when we watch these shows, these top shows, First Take,
mm-hmm.
Undisputed, blah blah blah, right? They hardly ever talk about baseball or hockey, and it almost makes me feel like, okay, they don't even complain about it, like, just leave us alone anyway. You know what I mean?
Right,
But
right,
I hadn't heard anything, and I'm like, well, what's going on with baseball? Because when you really look at it, it almost looked like that was one thing that you can do. Like, people can go fishing, you
right,
can go running. They starting to
right,
go to the gym and work out. So when you
right.
look at it, you know what I mean? I mean, you can go get a stick and play some baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They still got the parks closed, man. You know that? Like, kids can't even
Right.
climb up the slide yet. They still got like yellow tape on it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
So it's crazy. So I
But
just,
yeah, that's why it's like it's funny that they have the perfect opportunity, but then and now they're in labor and rest, which I think ultimately at the end of the day, they'll get it done. They're just, you know, it's just like everything, like negotiations. One side don't want to go with the other. And it's gonna be like 11th hour, you know, it's all gonna work out. But today, June 9th, 2020, what the hell is going on? Like, really?
sound like, do you think they might need to get some younger guys that kind of like it's not as closed minded to figure out a way to get everybody to really talk? Because, you know, a lot of these
Well, yeah.
like, you know, the NBA at one time was like that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the NFL. You know what I mean? Do you think
Yeah.
baseball might be going through the same thing? Kind of
How,
stuck in their own ways.
well, kind of, because I think the guys at the top are the ones who kind of have been talking, which it's like we go back to the same situation with the NFL and the NBA, where, of course, when the top guys, the highest gross paying guys, when they talk, everybody listen. Nobody's gonna really talk to a guy who's an average player who, you know, who has an average salary, who, you know, when they say average salary, he's getting salary. They're not gonna listen to him. But I think they're gonna get it. I think from what I've been hearing that they're gonna get, both sides are gonna get together. And I think it is. And I think it's just a point where, you know, everybody just wanna hold their leverage. But then when it's time to kind of get back, you know, we're gonna find out. And then another thing too, where, and I'm hoping they work behind the scenes as far as getting themselves ready, as far as like the health precautions and stuff like that. Because, you know, other leagues like the NBA, NFL, for the most part, they've been they've, you know, essentially outlined what their processes are, and then I think the NHL as well. But we haven't heard anything from Major League Baseball yet. So who's to say?
Right.
Yeah. Crazy.
Right.
Crazy.
But hey, we about to have our basketball. So okay, the
irony.
NFL with all the crazy stuff that we you know, we're talking about the NBA. What is the NFL going to do? So they're not going to have fans, right?
Well, I think they will. I know Texas is. I think. Don't quote me, but I know Texas was like, I think you can get like 30% capacity, and that's now. I think it's all still up in the wind, up in air. I think they're going to allow fans. I know the Dolphins were like, well, because I think they got 60,000 arena, and they said they want to at least fill about 15,000 of the seats. So that's generally what, about 25%. My math is here and there. So I don't know. It's weird how they, but it didn't really change because now you're just hearing about the training camps. They're essentially now going to be at the team's facility, so no one's going to travel to training camp. So, so that's another thing where it's like everything's developing. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting though. But I think they will have fans. But it's not going to be full.
I don't know, man.
Tilt.
How you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I've been doing some studying. I'm saying it for a reason. I've been doing some studying.
I mean, I don't like, to me, people are going to do it. I mean, and I think it's more money motivated. And I think it's more like to create where they're willing to put 15,000 versus 0. So they're going to find some kind of conceivable way. Hell, they might mess around and be like, social distance where they might, like, if a row has like 20 people, they might mess around and only let like 4 people in that row. You got to be 6 feet apart.
Yeah, my daughter said my daughter said school's supposed to be like that. Like on a bus, one kid to a seat, and she was like, they're talking about maybe like an A and B group, like A go Monday, B go Tuesday, and you know what I mean, like that. And then she was like, when you go to lunch, like I'm like, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad because it almost it's taking something out of this, like what schools, like public school, or you know what I'm saying, it's supposed to be like. That it's like it's kind of sad, you know what I mean? It's really, really kind of sad. It's like everything. It's like almost like everything's supposed to be like through technology.
Right. I can't hug up at it. I can't hug up at on no computer.
Yeah,
I can't up on no computer.
I can't do it, bro. That's crazy. It's sad.
Crazy. It is. It really is. Because really, it's because school in a sense is a social aspect. It's where you interact with your friends. You do here and there, but like you're saying, it's just like you're saying, it's crazy. Like
you just have to appreciate everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and so going back to what we're talking about, the NBA, they used to always whine about how the season was too long, and those games didn't mean anything. Like, I hate to tell you. Now they mean something, don't they?
They do, right.
Now they mean something. Right. So think about even the Clippers. Right. Think about the Clippers, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they was doing all that, what was it? When what's your boy? What was they saying he was doing?
Are you talking about resting? What you call
Yeah.
Are you talking about what is it called? I can't believe I done forgot.
Yeah, me too. I just thought about it earlier. You know what I mean? What's his name was resting him and
I cannot believe I cannot believe.
Me neither, bro. I just thought about it earlier. But they kept resting him. Now what if while they were resting him, what if they were losing games and they was in the like 7th or 8th spot?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then mess around and young boys step up, then that's really gonna mess the money up because they invested in the Clippers and versus the Lakers. You know that. Like matter of fact, they beat them early. The Clippers beat them early at home, and then the Lakers beat them at home, right? And then the next game, Kobe passed, so they didn't have that game. That was supposed to be a makeup game, and then all this happens. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So what if they? You know what I mean? Like, no, it's like it's almost like you're gonna have to really start coaching better. Your general manager's gonna have to work. If people are tired, then you're gonna have to start. Having some better backup, a better bench. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to have some different schemes. It can't be just the same scheme. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to work. Stop. Thinking you're just gonna get paid.
Load management.
Load management. So load management. Right. Which is ignorant. That's an ignorant term too. Just like Passive aggressive.
Huh.
Yeah. I ain't
Right.
heard that in a while.
You know what load management equals? I need my
What?
rest. I need my rests.
Because if I don't get my rest, nobody gets their rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If I don't get
right.
mine,
You
nobody
want
gets their
yours.
rest.
That's horrible, yo.
You horrible. Don't put that on
But
me.
no, but I'm saying, but all I gotta say is I just want the Lakers and the Clippers, like I said a couple weeks ago, I just want them to be on the opposite ends of the bracket. When it all said
Why?
and done, because I want a Western Conference Lakers Clippers Western Conference Finals.
No,
Why
I got
not?
you.
It's gonna like, dude, like just imagine those numbers, like the
Because
Clippers versus Lakers. And then
I wanted to be the Bucks and the Lakers.
I know, no, I'm talking about in the Western Conference
No,
Finals.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah,
you.
yeah. Now that's gonna be a draw, like, because I forgot when the conference championship. I think it's like September. I think that'd be like right around like opening weekend of the NFL, maybe like week 2 or week 3. I saw like, man, I can if that happens, and when those games are kind of slotted, that's gonna be crazy. And if they go to a game 7 and it's like on a Monday night or like a Thursday night or even Sunday, just imagine if it's a Sunday and it rivals like Sunday night football numbers. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm excited about.
Look, and I'm a
Imagine
toss
like
up because
right,
Mason played for the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? So I'm at a
right.
toss up. I want Bron to get that one with the Lakers, but toss up. But yeah, man, we got it. You know, they
Yeah, man.
listening to us.
Right.
They listening to us.
And what's weird, like what's weird about it all, like the whole thing about the regular season, they're like, and then we forgot to talk about, man, I just hope, like you talked about Zion, bro, I just
Mm-hmm.
hope he's in shape. I just
And
hope
you know
he's in
how
shape.
hard. You know what city he live in?
Hell yeah. New Orleans.
Bruh, okay. See, you keep setting this up for me to keep bringing up stuff we was
Hell
on the road. I was keto diet up. I was doing wear a Fiji gallon,
yeah.
liter of Fiji water, the whole nine. We get to Memphis,
It's out.
and
Throw the guy in the
Amy, I'm gonna
trash.
go. I'm gonna go get some. No, the first day we went to Crutchfield
Yeah.
and got some
Far.
smoking. Smoking barbecue. Man, I was there. Look, Frank was with us. So he
Yeah.
goes up, he orders first. He didn't even know how to say the right stuff. He was like,
Wow.
yeah, give me 2 barbecues with some corn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Man.
40. They had Kool-Aid
Yo.
machine.
Man. That was the best thing about being in the South, like in Mississippi and like in Tennessee when we was at. Crazy. Like literally between when we got back east, you could throw all your diets out the trash.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, there's nothing you
It
can
was
do.
a
The
wrap.
best food I really got though, was off a Mexican truck. Like, you know what I'm saying? A
Oh, you talking
Mexican
about
food truck.
Montana?
Oh man, remember? Yes, when we was in
Yes,
Montana, them damn burritos. Oh my
bro.
god,
And I walked in that summer heat like 2 miles from the hotel and
I don't
walked.
even want to talk about that. I want to talk. That's when I went on that
Oh,
mountain.
that was fire. I was like,
Yeah. Remember I
anytime,
told you that?
right? And they wanted me to go, and I'm like, hell no, like,
I said, if anything, you need to try this burrito. This junk
right.
right here is crazy.
And it was fire. But like back in Memphis, like when we went to the pizza spot, because when we went to Bill Street, it's
Mm-hmm.
400-pound dude in a Grand Marquis picked up me and Lamar. So of course we gotta be like, hey, what's the best food spots? Like, I don't think before we even pulled out the hotel parking lot, we said, yo, who got the
Uh-huh.
best food? He told us about his pizza place. Man, I swear, man, I was like in a coma for like a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was fire. Like, that was probably one of the best, because they had like
I went with.
yeah.
I'm going. Go ahead. Good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They had like you had like a combo where you get pizza, wings, and fries. It was like like less than $15.
You was so cheap.
No, I'm not saying like being cheap. I just let you know how good of a deal you got down south where you eat good for less. I mean, that's all. It's nothing cheap or anything like that, but it was economically priced.
Look, I was with Amy, and I go in this, and it's about to rain, storm bad. I walk in there, and then I'm ordering, and I always do the speech. Look, I'm not even from around here, blah, 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 blah. So the lady said, and I'm not a big bread dude, you know what I'm saying? But she was like, I ordered my food, and then she was like, well, y'all staying in a hotel? Well, you might want to get you something else, since you know what I mean? So I ended up getting another one. Then she was like, you don't want no sweet tea? Martin Luther King came and he said I had the best sweet tea in the world. I'm sitting here like, just go ahead and give me some sweet tea. She said, you don't want no cornbread? You want to go? Sammy Davis Jr. said my cornbread's so good I made his eye go straight. I was sitting there like,
what the hell? Yeah, I'd have been
cool. I walked out of there with 3 joints like this and some peach cobbler that I think I gave you. I think I gave you the peach cobbler. She just kept on everything. Every time I said, no, I want to, she was like, well, such and such like this peach cobbler. And then she got all their signatures on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Of all these civil rights guys, R&B soul singers. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, and then I walked out of there. They whole family in there just cooking. They got to arguing. Who supposed to be watching the game? I'm watching the game with you. Why ain't you in here watching the Greens, Timothy? I'm on my way. I told you I need a break.
Struggle is real.
There was no losing weight, no keto diet.
No,
not happening, bro. Not happening.
There's no telling what he's doing in Louisiana. God.
Right.
Oh my God.
I know
That's crazy.
And that, Southern when they attracted to you and love you too, they always want to feed you. So I know that you got to come try my gumbo, girl. Please, my gumbo better than hers. And then shove it in your face. They ain't gonna take no for an answer. It's almost like disrespect.
Right. I'm like, I already ate. I don't care if you already ate. It's like, okay.
Well, who would come to a restaurant if you already ate? You know what I mean? Like what's wrong with you?
I'm just, trying to keep up with my figure.
Right. You know what I mean?
And I'm trying to overindulge.
But you a movie star? What you need to? You ain't got that much meat on your bones now. Like, sweet man, I got some weight on me, sweetheart. Yes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm almost diabetic. Well, let's check the seat in. Look at that. Your glucose is good. You know what I mean? Do not know how to take no for an answer.
No. Not at all. But yeah, man. Put a ball in this week's Couch Coach Live. Who gets this week's game ball?
Oh man, I guess man, just to the people, man, staying consistent. I don't have to give a game to nobody personally. I mess around and be giving it to my brother every week because I just saw his scholarship. He came, he knocked on the door and he's like, "Hey man, I need help with my window." So I helped him out and he showed me the actual paper for his scholarship, and it's a full joint. That joint crazy, like it's serious, Excuse me, but hell, if for real, I give it to you, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? The last time we've done this format, it seems to be moving ahead, and I see you grinding, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Trying to move the needle, man. That's all.
Let them all know, though. You guess, understand. I'm Maui, and I'm the best. Nobody's ever gonna replace me. I'm always gonna be on everything.
Absolutely. What is it really? The Sunday sit down is something I've been wanting to do since like the advent of even before even I created Couch Coach Live. I was like, man, I want to do that thing even back before even thinking about doing Couch Coach Live. And something like that. And the spirit just this got to me, and I'm like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to do it. Like, so
I wish if everything would move forward, man. I would love to do like a Monday morning, like after Sunday, and then like remember we used to talk about that, and I said, man, to do one on Monday when everybody chilling, and we
Mm,
can we could talk about what happened on Sunday, and then we could talk
right,
about what's gonna happen Monday night, and whatever
right,
all the stuff. You know what I mean? Because we doing it on Tuesdays, but it's
right.
almost the same
Which
thing. Right?
we don't trust me. Football
We on the
season,
way.
football season coming
Yeah.
around, especially combined with this. People are gonna be like, "Damn, I'm about to unfriend Chris because he's just doing way too much."
I know they hate.
They gonna
No,
be
they don't
like,
hate.
"Look, he's
No,
he's burning both
no,
ends of the candle. Let me
no.
unfriend his ass. He's doing way
No.
too much." But
No,
hey,
because our
yeah,
subjects, and that's some people say when they said that they said a lot of our subject stuff we talk about is
hmm
what they talk about the same stuff. You got like at least I want to say 10 of the top shows
so yeah,
on the major stage. They talk about the same subject, and they like you get certain ones like I said Pat I think his name Pat McPhee. Did I say
oh
his
yeah,
name right?
McAfee, yeah, Pat, yeah,
McAfee. I'm sorry. He put a little more in perspective when I saw his show today. Speaking about Drew Brees, so I said that I liked that. But man, we
yep,
we go in a little more detail, tell our experiences,
yep.
and then we try to manifest some things that we want. So it's a little different.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do because essentially that's what you know. And one of my great mentors, he used to tell me, when I when I used to do broadcast at school, which well, I talk about that one day. So, and he always used to tell me, everybody already know the scores of the game. It's just
Right,
it boils down to your content and your personality. Like you have to
right,
do it a certain way than other people. Because I can tell
right,
you, oh yeah, the Brewers beat the Braves, the Nationals beat the
right,
Brewers 15-6 in
right,
9 innings. Like anybody can
right,
tell you what is how the delivery and then the subject matter and the
right.
context.
And
Versus,
the
like you're
respect of
saying, right,
and the respect of each person. Let the other person talk. Because I'm noticing
right,
the main shows. It's
yeah,
it's always got to be a debate. It's not seeing from each one's perspective, and it's always I got to say what I got to say and over talking one another and screaming. And that stuff is corny. It used to be funny back in the day, but now it's lame to me. Like man, I'm telling you, Skip. I didn't want to hear that, man. Like that's why you be talking. You to put what we need to look at. I'll look at it. But, man, I don't want to hear that. Skip. No. I don't want to hear that. And
right.
that's blasphemy. I don't want to hear that either. I don't want to hear nothing from either one of them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And then it's just gimmicky. Like when Killer
Mm-hmm.
Mike came on to their show, and he was being serious. And I know we kind of goof off too, but he go.
Mm-hmm.
So Killer Mike was like, Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time, and he go Shannon. Oh no, you talking about Go James, bro? Stop.
Right.
Like
Right.
that's his opinion. I
Right.
don't know, Killer Mike. It's Go James. It's
Right.
like
And my argument is still Kareem and Dr. J. Like mine, honestly, to be honest with you. And when I was young, because I came a little bit later, it was just a feeling when I looked at Dr. J. I wish
right,
it's a bunch of players, man. I wish they really just lay out and what I'm saying. I know they got a few documentaries, but I really want one on Dr. J and
right.
Kareem. Seriously. Seriously. But anyway, me and you end up talking about that for hours. But, but
So
man, I'm giving you the game ball, B.
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. You deserve it.
Man's going to Brian Shaw. So Brian
Mm-hmm.
Shaw was named the G League, pretty much the select teams.
Mm-hmm.
So they be coaching guys like Jalen Green and Richmond's own Isaiah Todd by way of John Marshall. John Marshall. Shout out to those
Mm-hmm.
guys. Oprah Road. So he'll be a coach in that team. So basically, essentially, that team is going to be like what they call almost like I would consider like almost like a dream team of one and dones.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be coaching them. So that's a great opportunity for those guys to get NBA coaching, especially for a guy like a Brian Shaw who's been in the league and coaching for he's been a player in the league,
Right.
coaching under the tutelage of Phil Jackson. So those guys are going to get some great coaching. Even though those guys, they would have got coaching in the college ranks, but I think this will definitely help them tremendously. And I think it's going to help expedite the process between where they are now until them going to the NBA. So that's a huge shout out for Brian Shaw to get that job. So that's huge for him. That's a huge shout out to Brian Shaw.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
man.
what's up. I'm happy he finding his way. I always felt like he was one of those coaches that got kind of dogged. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm happy for
him in more ways than one. You don't know if it's other factors. Why?
Right.
Right. The elephant in the room. But yeah. So any final words before we
final words. I know we talking about this sports, we excited, you know, but I'm studying a little bit. I went back and I'm gonna post some on my Facebook. I went back and started studying the pandemic of 1918. And it was just very interesting how everything went about. And I'm trying to figure out, because you know it's mirroring each other, like, you know what I mean. And we haven't really hit the phase 2 yet, you know. And I'm seeing that they're opening up. We're starting to do sports and this and that. But what I'm seeing from this, it was started in the summer, and it slowed down and disappeared, and then it came back, and it came the phase 2 Philadelphia, because it was like World War One and all those things. But I guess we can go in more detail. I talked about you a little bit more, so I just, still everybody still be safe out there, man. Still hand sanitize and mask on, because if they said this was a pandemic, let's just, I know everybody got their views on it. Just stay cautious, because if history, that's our problem too. We never go back in history and look at things. We keep, you know what I mean? History says there is a phase 2, and the phase 2 was way worse. Like, there was a global thing. It wasn't just America. You know what I mean? It would be like, let's say if it's like 5,000 people here, maybe 100 of them may die. You know what I mean? And maybe 300 was sick. You know what I mean? But 100 died. And some people look at those numbers like, oh, but still, you know what I mean? A lot of people that were speaking about it, a lot of people that spoke about it that got over it. It's like one of those secrets to America that nobody said, we didn't want to talk about it. It was scary. Millions of people died. Millions. They said if so many people died because of this pandemic, World War One, two, in Vietnam, and it might be something else. More people died of it, of the swine flu.
That's crazy.
Because they said the flu kind of it'll leave, but it kind of come back, and it's worse than what it was. You know what I'm saying? So that's my game. Just still stay as safe as you can. You know what I mean? To prevent it. What about you? What's your final thoughts?
Man, great show. I mean,
right.
It's, great show. So where can they find you? Yeah, I know.
You seem relaxed. You need you some more muscle.
I got a nice little tea going on, so that help with that. So where can they find you on social media?
Oh man, Deshaun Morgan on Facebook and DT Morgan 78 Instagram.
Cool. Don't forget to follow the show on all your favorite social medias, CouchCoachLive, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, CouchCoachLive Podcast, Anchor, Apple, anywhere you get podcasts, we're there. Then also check out the website, CouchCoachLive.com.
Big boy, big things.
Trying. So for Maui, this is Coach, man. Catch you guys next week, man. This has been another Couch Coach Live.
You're welcome.